Hi, this is Shadi. Today I have an interesting one for you. It is the Austrian police back in the 1930s taking basically a page from Maeda's playbook and Kodokan Judo's classical self-defense, and we're gonna see their footage and at the same time cross-examine it with some pages from Maeda's book and also Kodokan self-defense, and you're gonna see just exactly how similar it is. There's no mistaking it, and honestly it should be trained far more with far more liveliness, and so you can increase the reaction. And at the same time, we let's not forget that judo is about a better society and self-defense before the sports. But before we do any of that, you guys know, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and don't forget to check out my book, The Origins and History of Judo, translation of a manuscript from 1903. So first, we start with just classical wrist locks from behind. You see it from every angle, but most commonly done like this. But this one is being done when someone grabs you from behind. Now here, you block and then you use the club as fulcrum to bend the wrist and the forearm in order to get them to put them in a very uncomfortable position and painful position, and at the same time disarm them. So let's take a look at Mitsuyo Maeda's book of self-defense. So here it is done with a knife. Obviously you're not going to grab a knife as fulcrum because you will slice your hand, but same can be applied. So blocking first, and then you would put the other hand underneath and then cut downwards. But obviously the stick or the club is long, so it will provide a much bigger lever, but with the knife is not possible, so it is done with the wrist and or the forearm, as you see here being performed by Elio Gracie. So you block and then you put the arm underneath and then you start pushing downwards. Here you can see the rotation of the wrist and then locking the wrist. Again, you can find it from many angles. Here, for example, it is done from the back, very similar to what we saw, but it is grabbing the throat in the first example. As you can see here, twisting of the arm and then locking the wrist, very similar. So, and of course you have your classical kotegaishi that you see being performed in the judo kata and also in aikido very frequently. Here you can see Mifune doing it. So you can cross-examine all these evidence and footage. And here okay, if you get lucky when the gun fires and it doesn't hit you, then that's good. Then here you can proceed for an o soto otoshi. If you notice the Austrian policeman, he almost puts buttocks to buttocks and hip to hip and then pushes down with the hands. This is how Ono taught us. Obviously he didn't get to do it in competition like this, but the idea is if you want to get to B, you aim for C. Very similar to Hanegoshi. Here you can see the same with the knife like we saw earlier. This here, a Seiyoi Otoshi, dumping someone off the back, cutting down with the hands. Again, classical Kime no Kata and self-defense of Kodokan Judo. There's no mistaking it where the Austrian police got their arsenal from. And here, last but not least, or before the last one, is this scooping of the leg as someone attempts a headlock. Hickson actually does it far more economically, energy-wise. He actually scoops from the back, which helps him lift much easier, while the Austrian reached around and gripped, which makes lifting far more difficult. And obviously this one is far more superior in my opinion. And then of course everyone knows this ankle pick, while someone bear hugs you from behind and you pull it and it ends up locking the knee, so they have no choice but to go down as you saw here. So it's very interesting when you see all these countries back in the 1910s, 20s, 30s doing judo and training and using these techniques that you can find just readily available, luckily, in this day and age, that you can access them, and you can see just how effective Kodokan self-defense used to be, because now all we do is sports. I do believe in a lively way of training them, as Kano said in his writings, that the idea is to train the reflex, train atemi, and be always on your guard, because the goal is to defend or fend off attacks, and the higher goal is to rectify society and the world. So if you have anything to add, let me know down below. Don't forget to check out the links. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.